Okay, good afternoon from Indonesia, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, part of the road to the World Public Relations Forum 2024, a Global Communication Knowledge Conference series. I'm Anggia, as Executive Secretary from Perhumas. We are thrilled to have all of you here with us today as we gear up for the highly anticipated WPRF, which will take place from November 19 until 22nd, 2024 at Merusaka Nusa Dua Bali, Indonesia. This webinar series is designed to better prepare participants for the upcoming conference by providing valuable insight, expertise, and knowledge across various aspects of public relations and communication. We are fostering this discussion to enrich our understanding, ensuring that the public relations profession is at the forefront of meaningful and purposeful influence. WPRF 2024 themes, Purposeful Influence for the Common Good, highlight the shifting role and goals of the public relations profession as it adapts to a rapidly transforming global environment. This theme resonates deeply with the current times, emphasizing the significant responsibility that comes with shaping public opinion and influencing behavior. So for today's webinar session, we are honored to have our moderator, Dr. Nia Sarinastiti, who are currently serve as a board of expert of Perhumas, and also editor-in-chief Jurnal Interact Unika Ahmad Jaya, and also ICA Indonesia Chapter Committee. Please welcome Dr. Nia Sarinastiti.
Hello, good afternoon,
Hi,
everyone.
good afternoon.
Thank you, Angia, for the introduction. And I will also like to say thank you for ICA, who is also, this event or session is powered by ICA, which the chair is actually now already also present, Professor Doreen Kartikawangi. So just say hello. And thank you very much for this. And I will not sorry, this is too many things popping up for me asking whether my language is Indonesian or English. Let me just close this. Apologies for that. So yes, so again, as Anya mentioned, this is a series of the conference that we are having. And today, based on the theme that we have, purposeful influence for the common good, we would like to also have a discussion how to publish in reputable international journal, because we also have a call for papers requesting everyone to join into writing very I would say qualified quality journals in this conference. So first of all, before we start, would you like to start by doing a photo session first? Angia? Or would
Yes.
you let me introduce to the speakers first then?
Yes,
before we take the
Dr.
pictures?
Nia, please introduce to our speaker.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So today we have three honorable speakers coming in from very reputable journals. As you can see here, they are already in this frame. We have Professor Sung Kyung Cho, who is from South Korea, and he is the co-editor and publisher of the Asian Journal for Public Opinion Research, or we call it AJ4, and it's a Scopus Q2. And I believe Ibu Jantima is also here, who will be co-presenting as well. If you can pin her as well, Ibu Jantima. And then we also have Professor Fernando Paragas from the University of the Philippines, College of Mass Communication, who is the editor-in-chief of the Foreign Journal, which is a Scopus Q4. And we also have, hi, Jantimana, you're on screen. And we also have with us Associate Professor Sean Chadorul, who is from University of Melbourne, Editor-in-Chief of Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal and our APRG. So I'm happy to introduce all of you, and it's greatly appreciated for your time to be with us. And what we will be discussing today is something that is very important for all of us, especially as academicians, to be able to publish in reputable journals. So without further ado, I would like, before we start, I believe we will take our photo session together. Angia, would someone be able to take the pictures?
Yes.
Unpin all of us first, and then we will start the sessions one by one.
Um,
Someone from the Secretariat of Perhumas will take the picture.
Okay, Dr. Nia.
You will need to
So
unpin.
we will have the photo session.
Yes. So
Okay,
welcome
wait for a
everybody
minute.
for joining.
Okay, we have two slides here. So this is for the first slide. We have the photo session. Please, all of you, you can open your camera. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. It's already.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, I guess we can start now. I would like to again introduce the first speaker for today will be Professor Fernando Paragas from the University of the Philippines College of Mass Communication, and he is the editor-in-chief of Claridel Journal, which is a Scopus Q4. And without further ado, we'd like to provide this opportunity to you, Professor Fernando Paragas.
Hey, I'll meet myself. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon from the Philippines. I'm very happy to be here with you today. And I would like to walk you through the publication process of the Plaridel Journal. So we are an open access journal, and this is the link on the page, plarideljournal.org. So let me start with a quick introduction of Plaridel Journal. So we are the College of Mass Communication. We belong to the University of the Philippines, which is the National University of the Philippines. We are one of the biggest communication schools in the country, and 3 of our academic units are centers of excellence of the Philippine Commission on Higher Education. So as a national university, we have a mandate to grow the discipline, and one of the ways we do this is through the Plaridel Journal. So the Plaridel Journal was established in 2003, and our first issue was published in 2004. And since then, we have been publishing every June and December of each year. So we are quite a young journal, but we have been publishing regularly. That's why we were able to achieve the Scopus listing. So far, we have released 41 issues across 21 volumes, featuring over 250 research articles. The issues also include book reviews and interviews, as well as the lectures of our outstanding media practitioner. I checked, and the Plaridel Journal has published around 20 articles about Indonesia. So thank you very much to the Indonesian contributors. We started as a Journal of Philippine Communication, Media, and Society in 2004, but since then we have expanded to become a Journal of Communication, Media, and Society, which means we no longer limit ourselves to Philippines articles. As I've said, we have been publishing articles from Indonesia. And so hopefully we get more submissions from you after this session. We publish communication and media studies covering all communication and media phenomena, issues, or practice. So this includes public relations, advertising, journalism, cinema, and allied disciplines like political communication, gaming, among others. So we approach communication media quite broadly. We accept all papers across all paradigms from the positivist to interpretivist, or all methodologies or research of the science from the quantitative to the qualitative. We also accept conceptual or theory papers, papers which focus on methodology development, or empirical studies. The third one should be empirical. In 2016, we were included in the Emerging Sources Citation Index of Clarivate. The following year, we were included in the ASEAN Citation Index. And then in 2018, we were included in Scopus and the EBSCO Information Services. For the research ethics, as you can read from the Reputable Journal, we abide by the Helsinki Declaration and the National Ethics Guidelines for Research Involving Human Participants 2022 in the Philippines, as well as equivalent international ethical guidelines. We are open access, so we don't charge a publication fee. We also don't charge access to our articles. So we subscribe to the Creative Commons Attribution System. So all articles are available for viewing and downloading, except for the early view. Because we have quite a big volume of submissions, and we only publish twice a year, we now have an early view section in our website. The only caveat is being open access, Plaridel must be cited as original source, and our articles cannot be modified or used for commercial purposes. Now let me walk you quickly through our refereeing process. So once you submit an article to Plaridel Journal, and this process actually is similar to many journals, we start with a technical review. The technical review covers 5 items: the citation style, manuscript format, plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and AI. And I'll talk about this in detail in a bit. And then there are 3 stages which cover conceptual clarity, theoretical substance, methodological rigor, analytical correctness and complexity, interpretative depth, and overall coherence. And these are the items which me as editor-in-chief, and then we have a pool of associate editors and peer reviewers who study all of the submitted articles. So this is the basic steps in a refereeing process. And in each step, we would request sometimes for the researchers to revise and resubmit. So let me go through the checklist. This may be helpful for you. And this is true not just for Plaridel, as I've said, but for many other journals. So we use the APA 7th edition. So that's the first check. And then the second question is, are the in-text citations and bibliographic entries correct? And are the levels of headings and subheadings correct? For plagiarism, we use Turnitin, but we do not depend solely on Turnitin. We do check whether the key concepts are properly attributed, whether there are lines which need citation, and whether there are direct quotations which need special citation. So the peer reviewers actually, because they are experts in the field, are able to flag the lines and quotations which need attribution and citation. We also check for self-plagiarism, whether the article has been published elsewhere, or is there a similar paper by the same authors. If it is a derivative work or a work that is based on a thesis or dissertation, that is okay, so long as the authors do inform us that the article has been excerpted from a bigger project or manuscript. For AI, and this is an evolving concern right now, we do ask what extent AI has been used in writing, formatting, copy editing the paper, or whether AI has been used in conceptualizing or implementing the paper. And to what extent has the AI contribution been reviewed, cited, and attributed? Because we've noticed that sometimes AI, when used and not properly reviewed, can generate what is called hallucinations or especially for the reviews of related literature, where it cites sources which are not actually existing, or sometimes they paraphrase the articles incorrectly relative to the intent of the authors. So if AI is used, we do request you to vet, to review each item that the AI has generated for you. The second question, and this is now the part of the substantive process. So this one is about the technical review. For the next part, will be the editor-in-chief, associate editor, and the peer reviewer. So what do we actually check at these three levels? First, are the research problem and objectives specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based? Are the key ideas clearly defined? Are the research or thesis arguments properly articulated? And is the significance of the study informed by the related literature? And this is quite important, especially we've noticed for Philippine articles, and to some extent, a lot of the articles from South Asia, or the Global South, because we don't really have some of us uh, do not have a good access to the databases. There's much to be desired for the related literature, but this is quite important. So we really hope you'll endeavor to write a proper review of related literature. For a journal article, especially an academic one, like for those which are published in Platinum Journal, we look for theoretical substance. And what do we mean by this? Is the study informed by theory or theories? Does the study inform communication and media theorizing? And is the research paradigm clear in substance and application? We understand that a number of the submissions come from projects because we in Asia, for instance, do a lot of commission projects or extension work or public service initiatives. And sometimes there's research coming from these activities which are submitted to Plaridel. They are sound research papers, but they are not academic in nature. So we need them to be more theoretical for an academic journal. And maybe you can ask me about it later. And then we also look for methodological rigor. Is the overall research design sound? Are ethical concerns and questions addressed? Are the sampling technique and sample size appropriate for the research objectives and paradigm? As I've said, we accept articles from different paradigms and methodologies. But we do expect that, for instance, if it's a positivist research, then ideally there's probability sampling. And then for interpretative studies, qualitative sampling. But of course, this is not hard and fast rule. There are many gradations along the way. And finally, are the method-specific protocols followed? For instance, if you're doing content analysis, did you do intercoder reliability? If you're doing a survey, are your scales tested for internal reliability? If you're doing qualitative study, what is the protocol for reflexivity or positionality? And then for analytical correctness and complexity, have the right protocols been deployed? For instance, if you are doing quantitative analysis, are you conducting parametric tests because your samples are based on probability principles? If not, it is not an outright rejection, but there's a gradation again, maybe you did the sampling because you have difficult to find respondents, but you want to do some tests, and then you explain accordingly what interventions did you use or did you employ to warrant the validity of your analysis. And then for qualitative analysis, you have to explain what transcription method did you use and how did you use or how did you code your data. And then has the analysis been pushed towards theorizing? This is quite important for us because a number of qualitative studies focus on description and categorization, which are usually not enough. So we want you to push the analysis to the level of model building or nearing model building at least. And finally, the interpretative depth, which means are the data analyzed relative to each other, or are you just presenting table by table when you can be reading across data across the tables? Are the results discussed vis-a-vis the related literature and the study framework? So in essence, the paper is quite coherent, no? That what you talked about in the beginning you actually verify relative to your findings in the research. And finally, what are the implications and recommendations for communication media theorizing, research, and practice so that future researchers can refer to your study in their next project on their own. And then the last check is overall coherence. The research question and objective is answered because sometimes, because when a paper is accepted from a big project, sometimes the question is different from the results. It happens before. The concepts used parsimoniously and consistently, the scope and limitations clarified, and our promises fulfilled. So that's a quick guide on how to publish in the Plaridel journal. Maybe you can ask questions later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Hernan, for the in-depth in regards to managing how to actually publish in your journal. So we will have the Q&A later on at the end of the session. Now I would like to, but it's interesting that this is something that I believe a lot of the potential writers will ask as well, how AI can be included into the qualifications of the journals, but we can discuss that later on. Now I would like to introduce our second speaker, who is managing the Asian Journal for Public Opinion Research. We have two speakers. One would be Professor Sung Kyung Cho from South Korea, and also Professor Jentima Kekau, who actually founded the journal as well. So please, without further ado, you may present for about 15 minutes.
Okay. Professor Jentima, would you please introduce our journal first?
You will need to unmute.
Yes. Okay. Can I share something? I'm trying to see. Oh, I cannot share. I want to share. Okay. Yeah, where is it?
Do you have access?
Just I'm trying to see how can just a
Should be
moment.
the button. Okay, great.
Okay.
Yes.
Actually, this is not the one. Okay. Good afternoon. You hear me? You have my
Yes.
voice clear? Okay. I just briefly introduce our journal. Our journal is Asian Journal for Public Opinion Research, AJPOR. Yes. At the moment, the journal is on the 12 years, and in this coming November, we will complete our 12th year, and then next February we will start our 13 years in existence. And the journal published by we get the support from Korean Institute, KASI. Yes, so sorry, Asian Network for Public Opinion Research and Korean Statistics. If I'm not correct, Dr. Cho, please help me. Okay, so that is briefly, and then our first journal began in 2012, November 2013, yes. And we listed in Scopus Q4 in 2018, and until now, we move up until we are Q2. Yes, and we publish 4 times a year, which means every 2 months, February, May, August, and November. That is our journal. And yes, for the detail, I think Professor Cho can give you how you can be with us, and to give you more idea, we have the co-editor team here with us, also Dr. Dorian Kartika Wangi, and Dr. Brian Bantukans from St. Paul University. I saw him here. We can help answer some questions that you may be interested if you want to publish with us. And I give the floor to Professor Cho, and we will come back if you have certain question. You can visit us in our website, ajpor.org. Yes, please, Dr. Cho.
Okay, may I share my screen?
Yeah, I stop my screen. How can I stop? Okay.
Okay, all of you can guess what kind of papers we accept. So you can go to our journal homepage and you can find all the guidelines needed for the submission. So I will focus more on some other suggestions. So our journal has some features. So I guess all of you may not know about it. I want to introduce some of the features. Our journal is published not only in PDF, it is published in XML format. So if you go to, this is our journal homepage, and if you go to our journal, you will see this file is not only in PDF and also in XML format. So it has the implications for the author. It is a little easier for the potential readers or potential scholars to find your paper in the website. So that means if you submit your paper to our journal, it is probably a little more helpful for the other scholars to find your paper in the website. So that is one thing. And another one, especially our journal is for scholars in Asia, we try to improve the English. That means as non-native speakers of the English, we may have some of the scholars, even though their capability in their research area may be excellent, but not as excellent as some native scholars in English. So our journal especially focus on improving the English. Of course, it is not tragic. So we have some special editor for improving the writing, and we help the authors to improve their English. So if you are a little hesitant in submitting your paper to the journal because of your English, then please don't worry about it. Try to submit your paper. We will try our best to improve your English. And one more thing, we also accept many diverse forms of your research findings. Not only research article, we accept book review and also comment on the published paper. So if you think the papers published in our journal or some in other journal, think that paper has something to discuss, you can send to us, that means to our editor, your comment. If the comment is worthy of noticing, we will publish that comment in our journal. So we decided in that way, but I guess some Asian scholars, they do not try to submit those comments, but utilize this opportunity. I want to emphasize that is also important. Not only your research article, but also your comment on other papers will be also helpful to other scholars. So when you think some papers are very good, but that paper has something to discuss, you just send your discussions to our journal. We will review, our editors and reviewers review, and it is worthy, we will publish it as a paper. And also, in nowadays, it is very good to write the papers. Sometimes it is very difficult for the young scholars, especially, to have a good data, because having good data means requires a lot of resources and energy. But young scholars, especially, they may not have enough resources to collect the good data. So in that case, I want to encourage, how about utilizing the pre-published data? So collected by others, many national institute or many good research institute may have collected the data. So when I look at the submissions from Asian scholars, usually they try to make the paper utilizing their own research data. So they try to collect the data by themselves. But due to the lack of resource and some facilities, it is difficult for them to get the good data and also to have good measurement. So why you don't need to insist upon collecting the data by yourself. You can utilize the data by others. So I think that would be a good idea. And if you have some good data, please deposit that data to our journal or to some anywhere. So in that case, other scholars may utilize the same data, and that will facilitate our mutual collaboration. So our journal is open to this variety, diverse ways of sharing. So if you are willing to write your research article, that is very good. It is a traditional way of presenting your research result, but also your comment on other papers or your replication study or your summary of some important survey findings or your utilization of other research survey data. All of those research efforts are welcome to our journal. So I really think it is important in nowadays to try these various ways of research publications. Thank you. If you have any questions, I am willing to answer, but yeah, this is what I want to suggest to facilitate the further collaboration of the Asian scholars. It is really important to do some collaborative work together among Asian scholars, but it is very difficult because we do not have the research data about other countries. Even though I want to compare the phenomena in Korea, that's what I know, but it is very difficult to find out something about Indonesia or in Thailand or any other country. So I need the data in that country, but I don't have that. So for your part, for the scholars, if you write a paper, please submit your data together with your journal. Then the data will be published together or deposited somewhere else, and it will be available to other scholars. Then other scholars will do some study comparing their own country and with your country. In that case, you can comment on the paper later. So in this way, we can work together and to do something, some valuable collaborations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Cho, for your insights in regards, especially in writing for your journal. And I believe, I think people sometimes don't want to use other data, as you have mentioned, but now you're actually suggesting that is one of the best way to ensure that you have quality data. Thank you very much. We will continue on the discussion after our last speaker for today. And we would like to invite Assistant Professor Sean Jaidarul from the University of Melbourne as the editor-in-chief of the Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal. I believe today's session is quite interesting. We have from different universities from different countries, but we are not necessarily the origin from that country. So, for example, I believe Professor Sean is from Thailand, correct?
Yes, I'm from Thailand. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. But a very good afternoon or good evening wherever you are from the cold Melbourne here. I'm associate professor in the School of Culture and Communication at the University of Melbourne here. But actually, I just moved to Melbourne 2 months ago from the National University of Singapore. I used to be in Singapore, yeah, before I moved to Melbourne. So, while I'm pulling up my slides here, can I ask the audience to help me a little bit? Could you type in the chat box real quick which country you are from and what is one keyword of your research that you hope to publish? So if you are listening to this talk right now, could you type just one keyword of your research that you want to publish maybe through one of the 3 journals that you are listening to today and perhaps the country where you are coming from.
So
Don't be
example for
shy
myself
and
would be
then
Indonesia AI. Is that it?
yes,
Something like that?
yes, correct. Yes. And for me, I could be uh, Australia. I don't know whether I should say Australia or Thailand. Maybe Australia for now because I'm residing in Australia. Australia corporate social responsibility, for instance. Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to share my screen and then I will take a look at your answer real quick.
Looks like a lot of people are writing at the moment, so have to browse through really quickly.
Yeah. Um, Thank you so much for all the answers that are coming in. I really appreciate that. You can see that we have Philippines, we have Indonesia, and some of you are interested in such an issue as city branding, film, media studies, knowledge production systems from the Philippines here, environmental communication from Indonesia. Now, communication field is very diverse, as you can see, and then with that, I think it's a beauty of our discipline, and I'm wearing 2 hats right now. Today, I'm focusing more on the Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal, which I just took over the editorship just this year. And then this journal has a long history, which I will introduce in just a little bit here and now. It's indexed in the Australian Business Deans Council list at the rank B, right? We have A, B, C, D, and this is rank B. You might not be familiar with Australian Business Deans Council list. That's more for the business school, but some public relations scholars are housed in the business school, and that's why it's indexed in the business school here. But with the mission of my editorship right now, I'm trying to push forward for this journal to be indexed in Scopus in the next couple of years. That's my work in progress at this point. I'm also the associate editor of Manusia, which is the journal housed at Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. And that is the Journal of Humanities, and it's indexed in Scopus Q2. I would just briefly introduce this journal because it might not be that relevant to us, but there is a section on media studies that some of you might be interested in just a second. So for Manusia, as you can see, it's for humanities in general. There are so many topics, let's say philosophy, history, language, culture, literature, but there's also a portion on media. And that's why I'm serving as the associate editor of this journal. And it's indexed in Scopus Q2 as well. So if there are any submissions on the media issue, the chief editor will send to me to do to process the blind review, and then we'll have a pool of reviewers in the media and communication fields to look after the submission in that field. But I can talk to you more about this journal later because, as I said, today I'm more representing of the Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal, but this is another publishing avenue that you might be interested in the future as you look for publishing outlets here. Now, for our World Public Relations Forum, Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal is a partner for the conference here, and Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal that I just took over the editorship this year is an open access journal, publishing on the rolling basis, meaning that if you submit and it went through the blind review process already, went through the editorial process already, the paper will be published immediately. You don't have to wait for the issue according to the schedule per year. So that will be the faster turnaround here. And the journal publish any paper that address the issues, research, or cases related to Asia Pacific region in particular, that will be given priority. Now, what is the substance or the content area, the disciplinary area that we focus on? Of course, communication, public relations, and we not only focus on the research that advance the body of knowledge. We look at the pedagogical issue in public relations or strategic communication as well. You might submit case studies or even commentary, like Prof. Cho just mentioned about commentary in public opinion. We also accept commentary on public communication or strategic communication issues. Now, if you have any other papers that address the strategic communication issue from other regions, you might be able to kind of like publish it in our journal as well. Feel free to write and check with me, and I will tell you. You'll be surprised that the term Asia Pacific here is defined quite broadly. And if you do some Google search, you'll be surprised that even America is considered part of Asia Pacific too at some point. So I think we are quite open as long as you might do some comparison and as Prof. Cho mentioned, right, comparative studies, doing some comparative practices of public relations, strategic communication in Asia and perhaps in the UK, US, and all that, that could be a potential for our journal as well. For Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal, even though it's not in Scopus yet, as I said, it's in ABDC, and the journal has a long history in Australia, New Zealand region because it started in 1999. And as you can see, it's about 25 years already. And we have the editorial boards from various countries, from New Zealand, from Australia, we have from Hong Kong, from Singapore, Malaysia, and we publish paper from this region. A lot of papers that we received were from Indonesia, from Malaysia, and I'm surprised we don't have that many papers from Thailand yet. I hope we will invite some paper from Thailand in the near future. Now, moving forward, I want to highlight some of the common issues that I see as a pattern, and I use some of these in my workshop when I conducted workshops at various universities in Malaysia, Thailand, and some Indonesian country to help people to publish in international journals. What are some of the common mistakes that I saw and how to be successful? Number one, I noticed that a lot of paper that was submitted lack the clear synthesis of the past studies or the literature review, let's say, right? And that leads to the next problem. Like once the literature review was not done properly, the hypothesis or the question that they want to ask was not very clearly developed. And with that, another problem related to that too, it leads to the flaw in the methodological used to address the questions. And finally, I think some of the papers that I started seeing is that a lot of authors start getting excited about the local culture until they forgot to bring it back to theoretical discussion, Like this case is very interesting, and interesting in what way? What is the lesson, or what are the lessons learned from the case? And with that, I meant the theoretical discussion, theoretical contributions that you need to address further. So with that, you should be clear with your own aims and purposes to be successful. Build a strong case for your study. Spend time reviewing literature in the academic journals so that you can start engaging in the theoretical debates of the issue that you want to address. Be creative in asking questions or hypotheses. Little tiny thing, I think from the first speaker, Professor Fernando Paragas, he already addressed like some of the journals, they have the protocol, right? They use APA, American Psychological Association referencing style. That's what our journal is using as well, Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal. Some humanities journals, they might use MLA and all that. You have to make sure that when you submit the journal to submit the paper to those journals, you know what is their style, what is the referencing style, what is the nature, what is the aim and scope, so that you can select the appropriate publishing outlets. So that will help increase the chance of being successful in getting in for the journal here. I want to just go through this real quick. I don't want to spend too much time because some of these are the contents that I use when I run a workshop on writing papers for the journal, right? When you make a case and tell the editors, like, my paper is an interesting paper, how can you do that? How can you make a case for your study that it's an interesting study? You can say that, oh, it's an exception. It contradicts with the previous studies. Or it could be the knowledge void. I don't see much of the knowledge void in the social science. Knowledge void means some knowledge, some findings of certain theories do not valid at present day anymore. In the past, it may be true, but these days it may not be true anymore. I found more of that in the scientific paper, not the social sciences here, right? But we saw more of like the contradicting evidence, the action knowledge conflict. Theory said one thing, but people in the field, in the profession, do another thing. And then our research help address those gaps, right? Sometimes you might need to make a case, argue that, oh, there are some methodological or theoretical conflicts that, you know, qualitative studies in the past found this, quantitative in the past found that. That's why I need to conduct these studies and make a case that your paper found something new, for instance. So that being said, for instance, I got my one of my recent paper published just because, you know, the issue of like corporate social responsibility, for instance, right? There's a lot of debate about whether or not corporate social responsibility leads to the profit. If the companies do corporate social responsibilities more, do they get more people to support and buy their products and stuff like that, right? So that is the kind of like a conflicting findings from previous studies. And if you find something else, then you can build a case and make your paper more interesting, for instance. Okay, so I think this is gonna be my last slide that I'm gonna share with you. I share with you a little bit about the nature of the journal, how to build the case, how to kind of like correct some of the common mistakes so that you get a higher chance of getting accepted in those publications. If you are interested in Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal, feel free to scan the QR code and it will link to the page where you will be able to read more of the editorial requirements and then link to the submission. If you're interested in Manusia, there's a QR code over there as well. Just want to draw your attention to this journal, Asia Pacific Public Relations Journal. Right now, it's hosted on the website of the Communication and Public Relations Australia. In the past, we called this association Institute of Public Relations Australia, right? But now they add the term communication into the association name. as well. And you see that there are a whole range of papers, the topics and all that, including pedagogical paper as well, as I said. So if you're teaching something, you might be able to collect data from your class and then try to theorize from your teaching and all that. And then here's a submission guideline that you can take a look at. If you click on the journal, browse all the article and submit an article here, it would take you to the page to submit. And as usual, you have to submit 2 copies, one with your affiliation and one for the blind review process. And the submission process is quite easy because you just key in some information and then you just upload the paper. Okay, that being said, I hope to receive some submissions for people who are interested in public relations issue, and then I look forward to seeing all of you in Bali in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor, Associate Professor Sheridan, on your topic. I believe it's interesting. I'll just try to encapsulate what everyone mentioned today in regards to the quality journal that is required. So we will have a Q&A after this, but I think it's important that everyone should not be scared of writing in international journals, because even like in H4, there is help to improve on the writing. So I believe the main context is that you understand what your research is about and provide especially the connection with the theoretical based on your research findings. And that would be, I believe none of us here is actually the ones that's on the screen now. English is not our main language, and a slip of the tongue can happen, right? So even in writing. So don't be scared. I would like to encourage all of the participants here today that this is probably a good start, this event, for the World Public Relations Forum that we have as a collaboration with Indonesia. And I think I'm quite surprised to see that there are quite a few Indonesian journals as well, or written by Indonesians in the Plaridel journal. And Associate Professor Chadarun Orshan, manusia is actually an Indonesian word as well, meaning human.
Oh, okay. Same as Thai language.
Yes. So I believe everybody has a connection to that. All right. So with that, I would like to request if there are any questions to any of our speakers today. You may raise your hand. Oh, okay. Sorry, you need to raise with your reactions because I can't see. Okay, Budian. Anyone else? Can you use your reactions window, please? Recognize hand gestures. I can't see.
Sorry, I didn't find my ini.
Oh, you didn't
symbol
find it?
correction.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Maybe it's different for everybody. Okay. Budian, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mbak Nia, as moderator and all speakers. Here a simple question for all speakers. After submitting to your journal first, how long do we have to wait for feedback on whether our article is accepted or rejected? And it is free of charge. And then the second one, I work in distance learning higher education. So almost all of my article discuss about communication in distance education with many several approaches like mediated communication. Could you please advise where I should submit this article? Is it possible to submit to your journal? Thank you very much. Makasih Mbak Nia.
Sama-sama. As you can see, Budian has very good English because he used to be an announcer for the English news service.
Aduh.
Just for out of topic discussion. All right, anyone else before we go into for answering?
I think Ibu Nurlela raised her hand.
Oh, okay, yes, I see that. Okay, Ibu Lala, would you like to state your question?
Yeah, thank you, Bu Nia. So thank you all the speakers. Yeah, I have a question to Mr. Hernan, yeah, from Praridels. So when I listened your presentation, you mentioned about the AI, yeah, how research using artificial intelligence. So I have my own experience that my paper was rejected by the Scopus because I use AI. It's about 15%. Yeah. So what do you think whether to accept? Yeah. Let's say we just use the AI for growing our idea, yeah, for ideation, our research, or for collecting in the literature review. Then, but in the fact that I'm fail, yeah, rejected, yeah. So what do you think, and how Floridas can accept, yeah, how many percent that the use of artificial intelligence is in our data collection or in other research be accepted by your journal? Thank you.
Okay, should I answer the AI question first?
No, can you wait? Can you wait?
Okay, yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So anyone else? Would you like to ask? I'm going to try to have to do 3 sessions in one.
One
Okay.
question is in the chat room, Mbak Nia.
Yes, I'm reading that one. Okay, the other question is from Shawan Luk from Thailand. And the question is, how important of the implications and contributions of the submitted paper? So I guess I believe the question would be implications of the research itself. I hope I'm correct in translating that. All right, so we'll do this based on the questions from Ibu Dian first. And we also have Professor Doreen here. Her hat today is as because this session is powered by ICA chapter in Indonesia. And also she heads the call for papers as well. So if you have any questions for her, or if you feel you can answer Professor Doreen in regard to the 3 questions, please do so. All right, let's start with the first question from Ibu Dian on how long to wait, how much does it cost, and whether research on distant education makes any sense. So who would like to start? Maybe or directly also Professor Hernan, because there is a question for you specifically on AI. Thank you.
Okay, for the easiest question about the cost, we don't charge any publication fee. So it's completely free to submit an article or to download an article. Maybe the others can answer the cost first. Maybe Sean, you can ask whether you have charge or not.
No, it's all free to on my site, both submission and downloading. So it's all free. Yeah.
What about Ajpar?
Okay. Please unmute Gentima's speak mic.
Okay. Yep. For EJPOR, we how long will you wait? It depends. Sometimes can be very quick. The process is that once you submit and upon the desk evaluation, if we can find the reviewer and the reviewer return it quickly, so you can your paper can be published upon revision. Okay, so probably within the next issue, every 3 months, you can be your paper can be published. It depends, but sometimes if your paper is very difficult to find reviewer, so you have to wait for that. Usually, we agree on 2 years reviewer, and usually we invite 3 for the reviewer. And for the chart, of course we have to charge because we are really poor. So minimum is $200 for 4,000 words of the paper, and additionally every 500 words, $50. So we don't limit the length. It's up to you, as long as your paper are good and pass our review standard. So that is Dr. Cho. I think I answered.
When you submit the paper, if you add some more suggestions as to the field, specific field or keyword for us to find the reviewers, then it will be a little quicker. So when we find the reviewers quickly, then review process is finished very soon. But sometimes it is very difficult for us to find the reviewer. So when you submit the paper, if you think your paper belongs to some small area, then please add some suggestions where we can find the reviewers, in what field or what keyword will be easier for us to find the reviewers. And as to the submission fee, we don't charge any submission fee. We only charge a publication fee. When your paper is accepted, we charge some, but we have lots of support, financial support from the university or government. But still, to publish the paper properly, it costs a lot, especially to make the XML format. It costs a lot, and also we have to have the English editing process. That costs also a lot. So compared to, we charge probably maybe 10 or 20% of the total production cost. So we want to reduce that cost, but yes, it is very difficult for us to get. Anyway, we try as low as possible.
And I believe it's also because you need to make sure that the English language is good and you have to pay for their services too, right?
Yes.
That is all our part to make sure that the quality of the English in the paper are acceptable.
Right, great. Okay. I believe there are questions in regards to distance education. Will it be something that is relevant for any of your journals? Maybe we go back to Professor Hernan.
Okay, so we are actually, though we focus on communication and media, we are multidisciplinary in nature. But the important question is whether the question ultimately informs communication and media. So for instance, if it is about education, we don't really discuss the pedagogy part, but the role of media in the education process, in learning, for instance. But it's still the central argument should be about communication and media, which means the question and then your recommendations should first be about communication and media and not about education. So that's how the first check is about the fit for the Plaridel journal. So we don't do, because I am the first reader, I don't do outright reject for a paper like that, but I would request you to flip. If the focus is education, I would request you to flip the paper and highlight the communication and media, and then tell us at the end, what do we know more about communication and media in teaching?
Okay.
Yeah, so something along those lines.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. May I add, Dr. Hernan? Yep.
Yeah.
I think we think the same because for AJPOR, you have to, because it's broad, anything can be public opinion research. You can have a paper in nursing, in health communication, even in architecture, which we use to publish. But in the end, we are looking on the contribution of that particular paper that toward public opinion research.
Yeah.
In one way or another. Yeah. Professor Cho, maybe you can add, and then I think I would like to invite Dr. Bantukan because he is very strong in that adherence on evaluate the paper, whether it's contribute to the expanding the knowledge of public opinion research. Yeah. Maybe Dr. Cho, you first, and then may I ask Dr. Bantukan to share his idea because he is also the co-editors.
For me, the subject area does not matter. The data is important. So as long as that is related, the paper is related with the opinion or perception surveys, it is okay. Education or not, that does not matter much.
Great. I think we'll move on to Associate Professor Sean Chaidarlu. I believe you only answered how much does it cost to upload and or to publish and to download, but you have not provided how long to wait, as well as maybe go back to the distant education topic.
Sure. Thank you so much. I think it depends too. There are so many factors we have to take into consideration. Like, let's say, first of all, whether or not it's rejected outright, right? If it's rejected outright, you will be able to hear the result within just a few days. Because not because your paper is not good, but perhaps it doesn't fit with the journal aim and scope and all that, right? So you will hear that quite fast. But then the next part is that, okay, let's say if it passed the first assessment from the editor, then when the editor look for the reviewers, right? Whether or not your area is too specific. I just got one paper that I have to process, and it's about music communication. It's not easy to find people who know communication and who can read music scores at the same time, right? So in that case, it took me longer. Yeah, it took me longer. So that's why I can't answer definitely like how long, but we try our best to process because we know that people who submit the paper, they want to know the results as well. But it depends on so many factors beyond what we can control. But usually, if it goes through the review process already, right, we try to finish it within 2 to 3 months for the first round. If it doesn't pass the blind review process, the first round, then you will hear the result outright. But after that, let's say if it passed to the next round, this is my personal experience from other journals. It could range from a few months to even a few years. I got some papers that, yeah, the comments were even longer than my own paper. When you have to address all those comments, right? Sometimes it takes you like half a year or even a year to address all those things. So that's why it's hard to say in a formula. Okay, that's the part about the length. Now, in terms of the education, the long distance education paper, right? Again, similar to what Professor Fernando and Professor Chantima mentioned here, right? If you reframe your study to make it fit with the call for paper, the aim and scope of the journal, you still have a chance to get it accepted. For instance, my paper is already, my journal is already open for pedagogical issue, but it has to be pedagogy for public relations, pedagogy for strategic communication. So if you reframe that you are doing distance learning for public relations courses and what you find interesting about your practice, then I will process your paper and pass it on to the reviewers. Another possibility you can do is you might need to think about like what communication or media theory help you in make the analysis. And then once your findings come out from the analysis, in what way does that inform communication and media theory? For example, you just saw an example of the parasocial media, parasocial relationship, right? That's a concept in communication. Let's say if you want to use whether or not parasocial relationship can be developed in long distance relationship and all that, and you want to submit it to a communication journal, I think it might be relevant then, right? So it's a matter of how you reframe it to make it fit with the aim and the scope of the journal.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. I believe we have not answered all on the AI aspect. Would anyone else like to would like to add to that? Maybe Professor Vargas, Professor Emma?
Yeah. So we do test using the latest AI tools, but we don't depend on them solely. So we don't believe in percentages. But we do check. For instance, we do random checks of bibliographic entries, whether they do exist. Because, remember, it's a system of trust between you and the journal. We cannot really check each one because otherwise nothing will get published. And then the waiting time will even be longer. So we do random checks of the bibliographic entries. And we do have a sense already of what is AI writing. So we do calibrate our recommendation based on case-to-case basis. We don't depend on the percentages. The same with plagiarism. Because for instance, with Turnitin, we use the Turnitin software, it will generate a percentage. But that percentage is not automatically equal to plagiarism. Sometimes it's just they add all of the figures which sound alike and they arrive at a certain percentage. But actually not one item is really directly attributable to an article. So we do use these tools as guides, but we don't depend on them. And there are so many tools as well for AI, for instance. There's a tool you use just for grammar check, Grammarly, right? There's a tool for conversation starter. There's a tool to really help you write the whole paper. So there's a lot of tools out there, but the responsibility lies on us to use these tools responsibly.
Great. Anyone else in the panel that would like to add to that?
Yes, I like to, sorry, Chantima, just a short additional information. Some journal stated in their outer guideline, do and don't about AI. For example, you cannot put AI as your second author, and you have to show which part of your paper that use AI and how you use AI. So it's really depend on the journal. I suggest that you look at the guidance carefully and pay attention on the do and don't of AI for this specific journal. I think that's all.
Thank you, Professor Doreen. Would you like to add, Jantima? You need to unmute. Sorry.
I just want to say that for AJPOR, I think we follow the same as Dr. Ernan just say, and I remember that about 2 years ago during our board meetings, one of our board from Israel, I think, he raised this issue, and at that time I think we agree that okay, AI or not AI, we just value the originality of the idea of the papers, because and also we use our experience to check whether it's plagiarism or not, because like we cannot avoid using the tool to support our grammar or something, because as Professor Cho just said, that we encourage the scholar who are not their English is not their first language. So of course we have difficulty already in writing paper in English. That's why we encourage them. So we don't really look into that, right, Dr. Cho? But we try our best to check from our team for the plagiarism, and we value the originality of the paper.
I believe we have a few minutes more for additional questions. I think I'm allowed to have another 10 minutes because we started a bit late. Any questions for anyone?
I
I
think there's a
think,
question. Yeah, there's a question in the chat box about the implications.
yeah,
Correct.
And
Yes.
uh-huh,
I for-
yeah. There's another one. May I start first for briefly? I think implication or contribution is very important by the end, because if the author cannot prove that your paper has some important implication or contribution, especially to the aim of the journal, if like the journal for public opinion research, it has to be something contribute to public opinion research pedagogy or in public relation. So the paper should more or less support. That's why we do the journal. We are the venue, so our field can be expanded. That is the important. And really, from my experience, several times the paper are good, but it's not the author did not pinpoint the implication or contribution. Actually, they did, but it's not to the public opinion research. But we found that this can be, so we just suggest them think twice and then try to make a contribution or implication of the result to public opinion research, so we can publish the paper. So that from
Okay. Thank you, Jantima, for your comments. Anyone else would like to say a few words in regards to that aspect?
Yeah, if I may, don't end your papers with a conclusion, which is just a repetition of what you've already said in the findings or a synthesis of the findings. Because when we write the related literature, we are actually connecting our study to previous research, like what Dr. Shan said earlier. That's quite important. So when we end the manuscript, we should also point our colleagues to the next direction, to the next steps, so that they can connect to our research. Because as scholars, we are knowledge generators. We build the knowledge for our discipline. And so that's how we grow it, by leading other researchers to pursue further research. So that's quite important. So don't end by summarizing only your findings. Connect it, make room to connect your findings for other researchers to follow.
Perfect. Associate Professor Shandaram, Sean, would you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think of let's say if you listen to a TED Talk, you remember the TED Talk that impressed you at the end, right? And how impressive is that speech depends on the kind of like connection, the relevance that the speech make to your lives. Same thing. If a good research article impacts people in terms of like it can show that it has a great impact on the body of knowledge in this field. That means you are a successful author of the paper. So that's why it's very important.
Perfect. So I believe there are no more questions. So I would like to thank all of the speakers today. Please, everyone, give a hand of applause to Professor Anand Paragas, Professor Sung Jim, and then also to Associate Professor Sean, and also to Ms. Jantima Kekau, and of course, Professor Doreen. Thank you for your love that you have given us. And I'd just like to close with two announcements that there is still opportunity for you to submit. As you can see, it should not be intimidating for you to submit, because they will be very helpful, and because it's a partner, so they will be able to try to make it happen for you. And there are also other journals, national journals, that will take your papers as well. And the opportunity here is a buy one, get one. So find someone to also take part in submitting any papers. And also here we have from the Secretariat of Humas has given you a link, so that if you attend, you will be able to receive certificate and the materials that has been provided to you today. So thank you everyone for your time, and also again to the wonderful speakers today, and hopefully to see you in Bali. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oke, thank you, Dr. Nia. Okay. We will present you for the limited offer.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you for this wonderful webinar. So we encourage all of you participate in WPRF 2024, whether through submitting papers or attending the forum in Bali. For the submission of full papers, we have exclusive limited offer for university and association partner, as mentioned by Dr. Nia. So we truly value your dedication to advancing knowledge in your field. And to show our appreciation, we thrilled to extend a special promotion just for you. You now have the opportunity to buy one free one to submit paper for the World Public Relations Forum Conference on November 19, 2024. Whether you join us online or in person, this is your chance to showcase even more of your impactful research without any additional cost. The link is already in the chat box. So the deadline for submission is October 18, 2024. If you have any question and needs assistance with your submission, please feel free to reach out. We are also proud to announce that we have gathered top scholars in the field to be our peer reviewers, headed by global scholars such as Prof. Emeritus N. Gregory, who works on global capability framework, has become the benchmark for how professionals in public relations and communication management perform at their best. And also there is a Prof. Mike Hardy, whose research and writing now focus on the role of power of public leadership, and also Prof. Jasper Falkhammer, the editor-in-chief of the Journal of Communication Management. We had also affiliated with the 14 journals publisher, highlighting the Journal of Communication Management, Emerald Publishing, Scopus Q1, ASEAN Journal for Public Opinion Research, Center of ASEAN Public Opinion Research and Collaboration Initiative, Scopus Q2, Plaridel, University of the Philippines College of Mass Communications, Scopus Q4. So this is the great opportunity to enhance your skill in academic writing and boost your chance to getting published. Thank you once again for joining us today. Thank you for our associate partner, ICA Indonesia chapter, our co-host LSPR Institute of Communication Business, and support by University Catholic of Indonesia Atma Jaya. Look forward to seeing you at the World Public Relations Forum in Bali. Have a great day and a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Angga. Bye-bye.
Bye, Bu.
Bye, Miss Anggia. Bye.
Bye, Miss Lala.
Maaf Dorin, Mbak Nia. Mari. Keren acaranya.